No, I think there's
Okay, can I have a motion to reconvene our public session?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to reconvene our public session, please.
Do I hear a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? We are back in public session. In order to facilitate...
Madam Chairwoman, if I can, we typically also note for the record that no votes were taken in executive session.
That is correct. No votes were taken. Thank you, Mr. Travasio. In order to entertain a discussion on financing development and leasing plan and to take any necessary action, I need to have a motion put on the table.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for purpose of open discussion.
Second. What do you need a motion? On a recommendation.
Recommendation on the BDDC plan of Renaissance to either move it forward or disregard it.
Do I hear a second? Second. Any discussion? Let's have some discussion. Joe, you want to go first again?
Not really.
Okay. You don't have to.
I'm just a little unsure of the motion that John made.
Motion for discussion.
For discussion.
It's a motion to open a discussion on the plan.
Then you have to go to...
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Sorry. All right, discussion is open.
I think it's clear from our discussions at this point that at least I'm uncomfortable with the fact that there's a lot of information that we're still lacking in terms of who is going to be investing the money and where that's going to come from, what the ownership is going to be, and how that's going to proceed forward given the contract that we already have with you guys, with Renaissance.
Tom, just to take that a step further, I mean, a few of us have been on this for quite a few years, and I know we all want this to move forward in a positive mode. But it's just, for me personally, there's a lot of unanswered questions that I don't have right now. I wish I did have them, but I don't.
Maybe I'll set, at least for myself, a little bit of tone here. This board has put in an awful lot of time and an awful lot of effort into this project. Some of the original members, including John, have put countless hours into this. And the reason we do it is not for the great pay or the accolades and praises that we see on the front page of the Bristol Press every day, but because we really care about what happens to that property across the street. And I would commend everybody that spoke on both sides, because it's obvious that you all care what happens to that property across the street and what gets built and the future of our city. And we struggled. This is not an easy task. And I don't think there are very many of you out there that would necessarily want to sit in any one of these chairs. I'm a contract person. Ryan, you know that from day one, because I sat at the negotiating table as the appointed rep of the BDDC to negotiate the contract. So after receiving your submission, I went back to the contract, and I'm going to be completely honest, I was disappointed in the submission. I mean, I was expecting a finance plan, a finance development and leasing plan. In my professional life, I've seen lots of them. Yours was really very skinny. Now, I understand that you haven't necessarily had a lot to work with. We had economy issues, we had a lot of issues, and this board has worked hand in hand with you. But some of these unanswered questions, when we talked about the finance development and leasing plan, it was supposed to be shovel-ready. This is not a shovel-ready project. There are a lot of unanswered questions. We also, when we talked about the extension, and when we did the extension, the idea was that everything was going to be in place with the exception of the CHAMP financing. So the CHAMP application was going to have to be done. We still have unnamed investors We still don't exactly know what the ownership percentages are going to be, what the structure is going to be, who the party sitting across the table from the city is going to be. That puts this board in what I believe is an awkward position in recommending a plan to the council, and a plan that doesn't specify who the controlling party across the table for this phase of the project is going to be, how the funds are going to flow, who all of the investors are. And again, also doesn't comport with what I think we always talked about as a finance, development, and leasing plan. And development and leasing don't really appear in the plan. I mean, the leasing plan is, okay, city, you're taking the commercial. We don't have, current numbers of letters of intent. We don't have updated numbers of people that want to live there. We don't have a tenant list. Obviously, we understand. We believe what you say about pre-leasing, but it seems that those efforts, all of the efforts have been focused on financing, and it doesn't seem like there have been, and I'm not saying you don't work hard because I know how hard you work, but it seems like there hasn't been enough put into the development and leasing side of things. And even the financials, for me, just haven't come together.
I think along the same lines as Jennifer was talking, I think that it's important that we all understand this is not a commitment for next month. This is a commitment for 20 years or for 30 years. Obviously, the city is being asked to fund a large portion of the project. But beyond that, we also have to live with the project for a long time. We have to be comfortable with the sponsors of the project, with the specifics of the project. We need to be really comfortable with this plan to make sure it's the right thing for the city. I think that it's clear there are lots of passionate people who want something to happen in the city. I think we all do. I think we need to be very careful and make sure that the plan that is put forward, we're all very comfortable with, we can live with for a long period of time. And Jennifer said that there were some unanswered, several of the members here said there were some unanswered questions, that the plan seemed a little bit light with the detail, and I also believe that's the case. So at this point, I just wanted to make that statement.
I think that a mixed-use project is a possibility for Bristol, and I do think it's a path we should explore. However, I am also uncomfortable on who's investing what, where the money's coming from, the ownership. This is a risk project. This is a risky project, whatever way we look at it. But that's what concerns me is the ownership, the investing, and frankly, the experience of the potential investors is a concern of mine.
I was very encouraged today listening to all of our community come out and speak about our downtown on the positive and the honesty. And what was encouraging to me is that our community cares for what's happening in our town. We have had a packed room every single time we've had discussions regarding this project. We are all in agreement. We need something downtown. We like the project of a mixed-use area where our community can get together and come and meet and share. But I don't want the city or taxpayers to be put in an awkward position financially for the next 30 years, because it just doesn't affect us today. It affects myself, it affects my children, it affects my grandchildren, it affects a long line. So what the decisions that we have to look at and the decisions that we have to make isn't about today, it's for the next 20, 30, 50 years.
I think I'll just add to my earlier comments, and I'll put it on the record now. I think that the city's going to have to put some kind of investment into the downtown. I don't think that we can expect to redevelop downtown with zero city contribution. But because there's got to be, and I'm not saying what level it should be, I have no idea. But clearly, I'm a huge supporter of mixed-use development. Would love to see mixed-use development, but to back a city investment, it's got to be a rock-solid plan. The details have all got to be there. We all have to know what we're jumping into, and I just feel that we can't commit at this point, even on a soft commitment that's going to have to convert very quickly to a hard commitment in order to meet the state financing commitments. The information just isn't there.
To add to Jen's comments, I also agree that mixed use is something we need downtown, and also I'm a firm believer, even though the city already purchased the property, $5 million, there's money that's going to have to be invested through the city.
Anyone want to make any additional comments?
Yes. For those of you who are counting like me, the supporters definitely outweigh those who are against the project, and I happen to agree that I support the project for mixed-use development, but I do have questions as well, and I was hoping that they would get answered before the June 10th deadline, maybe in the working group. I'm not sure if that's possible, but I do hope that that's something that we can look towards in negotiations. But I have questions, and I don't think all of them were answered here tonight.
Any further comments? Mr. Martin, do you want to make any comments? Mr. Vasio? Okay, if there are no further comments, the chair will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to deny this project moving forward to approve for approval to City Council.
Sir, I think what the PDA calls for is that the BDDC either has to make a recommendation that the City Council approve the proposed financing, leasing, and development plan, or reject the proposed financing, leasing, and development plan. So I think the motion you're struggling to articulate would be to make a motion that the City Council approve the proposed financing, leasing, and development plan.
That we make a recommendation.
Make a recommendation that the City Council approve the proposed financing, leasing, and development plan.
Make a motion to approve the financial, recommend approval of the finance and development plan.
Can I hear a second?
Second.
So a motion has been made that the BDDC recommend the City Council approve the plan submitted. So a yes vote would be a yes to approve the plan, and a no vote would be a vote that the plan, a recommendation of the plan not to be approved. And with that, I will call a roll call. Mr. Lodovico.
Thanks. No.
Mr. Farina.
No.
Mr. Barnes.
No.
Ms. Greaves.
No.
Ms. Marr.
No.
Ms. Fontaine.
No.
And the chair votes no. With that, we have no further business to come before the board tonight. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.